Deep in the heart of an ancient forest, where the trees whispered secrets to the wind and the rivers hummed gentle lullabies, there lived a hermit named Elias. He was an old man with a long silver beard, and his only companions were the birds that perched on his roof and the deer that occasionally wandered near his small wooden hut. Elias had long turned away from the world of men, preferring the solitude of nature, where time moved like the slow ripple of a pond. One evening, as he sat by his fireplace with a steaming bowl of stew, he heard a faint rustling near his doorstep. When he looked down, he saw a tiny gray mouse with beady black eyes staring up at him. It was shivering, its small body trembling from the cold. Elias chuckled. "Well, what have we here? A little visitor?" The mouse twitched its nose but did not run away. Instead, it squeaked softly, as if pleading for shelter. Elias, though a man of solitude, was not a man without kindness. He tore off a small piece of bread and placed it gently in front of the mouse. The tiny creature sniffed it, then snatched it up eagerly. That night, as the wind howled outside, the mouse curled up near the warm embers of the fireplace, safe inside the hermit's home. Days passed, and the mouse stayed. Elias named it Pip, and often spoke to it as he went about his daily chores. "You're quite the guest, aren't you?" he would say, watching Pip scurry across his table in search of crumbs. At first, Elias thought little of his new companion. But soon he began to notice something odd. His loneliness felt lighter. He found himself laughing when Pip tumbled into an empty clay pot or when it tried, with great determination, to drag away a walnut twice its size. One stormy night, as Elias sat by his fire reading an old book, Pip suddenly squeaked loudly and scurried toward the door. It scratched and squealed with urgency. "What is it, little one?" Elias asked, puzzled. Pip darted back and forth between the door and Elias, its small body tense with alarm. Finally, Elias opened the door, and the wind rushed in, carrying with it the distant sound of a cry. Frowning, Elias grabbed his lantern and stepped outside. The rain poured heavily, turning the ground into a muddy mess. Following Pip's lead, he walked through the trees until he found the source of the sound, a young traveler. The boy was weak from hunger and cold. Without hesitation, Elias lifted him and carried him back to the warmth of his hut. He dried the boy's clothes, gave him warm soup, and let him rest. Days later, when the boy regained his strength, he told Elias that he had lost his way in the storm. "If you hadn't found me," he said, "I don't think I would have survived." Elias glanced at Pip, who was nibbling on a crumb by the fire. "It wasn't me who found you," he chuckled. "It was Pip." The boy stayed for a while, helping Elias with his chores, bringing laughter into the quiet home. And when the boy finally left to continue his journey, Elias no longer felt as alone as he once had. From that day on, Elias realized that even the smallest companions could bring the greatest warmth. He and Pip remained together, two unlikely friends in the heart of the forest, sharing their days with quiet contentment. And so, the hermit who once sought only solitude discovered that even a tiny mouse could remind him of the simple, unexpected joys of companionship.